Welcome to Buckets. It's Action Network's WNBA betting podcast presented by BetMGM. And this is our best bets episode for Friday, June 14th. That's right. We are officially a month into the season and we have a really fun 2-game slate on Ion. Plus, we got to look ahead to what's going to be a super exciting weekend. I'm Maria Marino, back here with Jim Turvey. And Jim, it keeps getting better. The W season, the drama, all the storylines, and we have a lot to look forward to here on Friday night.
Yeah, we're really getting kind of into the meat of the season here. Really get the spotlight's going to be almost entirely W soon enough. We had a fun little banter on All-Star Game stuff earlier today. That voting is now open. I think you and I both have thoughts on how that could lay out. But yeah, this is the best time of season. You know, we have a feel for things. I think we talked a lot at the beginning of the season about when you want to jump on trends, but there's not enough sample. Now we're pretty good into this season where we've started to got some samples are settling. We know a lot about teams and we can kind of pick our spots and find the best bets out there.
Absolutely. Coming off the discourse about, who's making the Olympics team. And then obviously in the All-Star game, it's going to be like Team USA versus Team WNBA. Fully expecting Caitlin Clark to be involved in some way, shape, or form. So definitely have that to look forward to and excited to see how the All-Star voting pans out here over the next few weeks. But for Friday, what are your favorite bets?
We've got two best bets, both from the same game, both similar in alignment. I've got the Chicago Sky -2, and I've got Camila Cardoso over 7.5 rebounds.
Very nice. Okay, so the Sky and Mystics play 7:30 Eastern Friday night. You mentioned the Sky laying 2 here, and they are 4-7 straight up, 5-6 against the spread. Last time out, fell to Connecticut, 83-75. Super competitive game, though. Angel Reese with a bit of a breakthrough offensively with a season-high 20 points. She was 8 of 10 from the floor. Also had 10 rebounds for her 4th straight double-double, so that was exciting to see. And then the Mystics, 1-12, straight up, 7-5-1 against the spread. They did get their first win Tuesday night. Hopefully, everybody was tailing Dano Mataya, who was on this podcast, giving out Mystics money line, called them getting their first victory. But I got the good news out first, the bad news. Shakira Austin and Brittany Sykes are now out again. So Austin has had this hip injury that's apparently been kind of a up and down thing for her. Sykes suffered a new injury on Tuesday. She had previously missed 10 games with an ankle. So this is just a bummer for a Mystic squad that even without 2 of their best players have been super competitive. And again, coming off of that win, they're not able to really get any momentum here. I'll mention just in addition that this is a rematch from June 6th, and Chicago did win that one 79-71 behind 25 points from Kennedy Carter. So why do you like the Sky?
Yeah, well, first of all, shout out to Dano. That was a snipe, not just spread, but money line. I think it was like almost 3-1. That was a really nice look. And I think, part of the reason he was on it, part of the reason that during that game, I tweeted out, all right, Brittany Sykes is back and the impact she makes on the offense, I'm going to start looking for money line Mystics again, sprinkle my spots here and there. Well, what happens? Brittany goes down in the 4th quarter. Unfortunately, it turns out she's going to miss some games. And, when we look at this Mystics team from kind of a big picture type of lens, talking through with Calvin Wetzel about their futures, right? It looked like a buy low spot. Maybe we could get them on 8.5 wins. I got a little nervous because I think as soon as Sykes has another injury, they're going to play it as slow as possible. I think players don't tank. I always will say it. Players are out there giving their best effort. You're never going to not see best effort from players, but organizations will very much slow play injuries. We see Shakira Austin getting lots of, injury rest, the preventative rest this year. Washington is very okay having this be a year where they get a top draft pick and, then they're back at it next year, right? But they lost Natasha Cloud in the offseason. Elena Deladon's in that kind of weird twilight zone. We don't know. She's I guess she's still part of the roster, but she's not playing. Whatever's
Yeah.
going on there, this was a season that was going to be a little funky for them from the start. I think they're fine just resting folks up. It's part of the reason I'm on the Sky. I wanted to see the official news on Shakira and Brittany. Both are officially out. I'm going to be on Sky. The Sky bigs have really impressed me. We talked about when they drafted Camila Cardosa and then Angel Reese. You know,
Yeah.
it didn't make the most sense, to be honest. They have Elizabeth Williams, who's a really strong interior presence. They had Isabel Harrison coming back. I got to eat crow on that. This rookie duo has been awesome. When
Yeah.
Camila Cardosa comes back, Angel Reese has been better than I thought she was going to be in her rookie season. And now, unfortunately, Elizabeth Williams is out, but it's kind of solved the logjam that they have in the front court. So that's part of the reason I'm going to be on Camila Cardosa's rebounds over. She had a season high in minutes last game, up to 29 minutes. I think the books are weighing that as not a one-off, but also not the new norm. I think it is going to be the new norm. This was the first game without Elizabeth Williams. She had a season high in minutes, a season high in rebounds. Now she's going against a Mystics front court that doesn't have Shakira Austin. A Mystics offense that's going to give her plenty of rebound opportunities, because this is not a good scoring team without Brittany Sykes and Shakira Austin. And then on the flip side of it, the main player who would cut into those rebounds is Angel Reese. However, we all know Angel does her most damage on the offensive glass. That's where she's really getting those rebounds. So on the defensive glass, that's going to be there for Camila to grab. You can get a plus money on the over 7.5 right now, but I'll like this even into a minus number for that. So I'm on this guy. I'm on Camila.
Yeah.
I was even looking at Angel Reese. I wouldn't hate sprinkling, for her to get her 5th straight double-double. She's really in good form right now. So I'm kind of all things Sky for Friday.
I'm sold. And I actually really like that idea. Angel has been, as I said, a double machine. And with this matchup, like you said, without Shakira Austin, I think that's everything. And this is it's not unheard of for Angel. This is who she is. This was her whole identity in college. And I can't say that I expected it to translate quite as well as it's been translating. I thought that she would be effective, on the glass, but what she's been doing has been solid in that department. And then Camila Cardoso, I mean, she's been great. 6'7" is hard to stop, even on this level in the W. And I think the two of them together have been money. I've been saying that I think that the Sky can make the playoffs, and I think they're talented enough. I think they're feisty enough. They're disciplined defensively, and they've been competitive even in their losses. Teaspoon is trying to win, and this is a game that they should win. I think it's important to them to make a playoff push. They are in a very different situation than, say, Washington. They got to get this game. I really feel that that's imperative for just their goals for this season. This is a game that they should win. So I'm all about it. And I'm excited to see how these rookies, particularly Cardoso and Reese, continue to develop. So this is going to be a fun one. Feel bad for my girl, Aaliyah Edwards. I know she is not used to losing a lot coming from UConn, and she's been playing her heart out, but it's just really tough when you're a team like Washington, once again, just like last season, a little bit of a different cast, but still dealing with just too many injuries to overcome. But let's move on. And I know you don't have an official play on this game, but do want to discuss it a little bit, as we have the Sparks visiting the Lynx, who are laying 13.5 or so. The Lynx continue to be the most profitable team in the W. They're 9-3 straight up, 10-2 against the spread, and coming off a little redemption win over Vegas. Just a super balanced effort from the Lynx the other night. And then for the Sparks, 4-8 straight up, 4-7-1 against the spread. And I'll say this, Jim, going into Tuesday versus Seattle, when I saw the spread around 12, I thought that felt high, given that the Sparks came off that they had actually beaten Vegas. And, Dearica Hamby is playing so well, but I'm realizing now, as they did not cover the other night against Seattle, beating Vegas just isn't the statement it's been in the past. So I don't know anymore that we can take much away from teams that are able to get a victory against Vegas.
Well, and I'll say this. I think with the Sparks, if you're going to play them, you almost want to play them on the money line. You mentioned how they're 4-8 overall, and also I think 4-7-1 against spread.
Yep.
So they have the ability to win some of these games, but they also have the ability to lay absolute eggs. They've taken some of the worst beatings this season. So they're kind of a funky team. They have this high floor and high ceiling for a roster that really doesn't look like it should have a high floor or ceiling. But there's also some interesting rotational stuff going on here. I think Kurt Miller is kind of leaning into, all right, I'm going to mess around with rotations. I'm going to see what I've got. Ari McDonald's really gotten a lot more run lately and has played a lot better. But the flip side of that is a couple of players are really seeing their minutes drop. Lexi Brown has seen her minutes drop, but really Kia Nurse, she was around like the 30-minute a game mark to start the season. She dropped down to like the high teens, and last game she had about 4 minutes. Now, part of that was due to a little injury she picked up during the game. But even if she is back and playing, I'm going to be looking at her unders because it looks like she's maybe, she's that kind of veteran type player that I think Kurt knows what he has. If they're in a game, maybe he's going to try and play her to get across finish line, but he will also often take her out and not play her as much. So I'll be looking at some unders there. Then also this Lynx defense is so good that there's a couple other players I wouldn't hate going on some unders. Last game we had Laisha Clarendon. Their assists opened at 4.5, just too high based on the role that they have on this team and the minutes they're getting right now. I would even potentially look under 2.5 assists. They've only cleared that once in recent games. And then the last one of this is Rakia Jackson. She's had a couple of good games here and there, but the Lynx defense is going to be a really tough matchup for her. They don't give up a lot of threes. She's pretty reliant on the three when she really is able to clear her point total. So I'll be looking on that under as well. Been hitting her points and rebounds unders lately. So a couple of unders for the Sparks make you think I'm on the Lynx side of things. I'm certainly on their side of things. I just don't really want to lay 13.5 with how I've seen the Sparks team, every now and then do some crazy things. So
totally with you. And just so everybody knows, this is also a rematch from June 5th. The Lynx won 86-62 in that game. Nafisa Collier, 25-9. Derica Hamby, 17-11. I totally agree. I think the Lynx should win this comfortably, but it's just the number is just a little too high for my liking there. And I do wonder, from a game to game basis, like how competitive LA is going to be. Cause to your point, it's a little misleading sometimes. Like there's some games that it seems like they're coming for you and they're, getting after it. And then there's other games where it's just like, yeah, well, whatever. Like
if you didn't want the Sparks money line, the flip side maybe is you referenced that first game, the Lynx won by 24, take it all the way out to there. Cause we've seen like kind of the in-between. The Sparks will either be great or terrible. Yeah. So maybe get like the biggest alt spread you can get on the Lynx at like a significant plus money. That's maybe the way you want to go with this game.
I do think there is something to what you described with Kurt Miller, just kind of like he's competitive. He wants to win. He wants his players to succeed, but he's also experimenting. And he also is keeping in mind the bigger picture here. And, I think he's willing to try some different things at the expense of potentially losing ball games.
Yeah.
So that is the conclusion of our two game slate on Friday, but we have just a crazy weekend ahead. So I do want to preview this a little bit, even though we don't have a ton of official lines out. So Saturday we got action. Sunday we got action. I think I'll start with Saturday because it's the Liberty Aces rematch Saturday afternoon. Now, have you heard whether Chelsea Gray might be back in time for this?
So she's supposed to be questionable. Even, we're recording this Thursday before game. She's supposed to be questionable for tonight. So we should know a little bit more. I could see it either way because I could see her returning tonight and then they don't play her back-to-back games. I could see her not returning tonight, and then we don't even know if she's going to be back for the Liberty game. So I think it's going to be a big question mark either way, to be fully honest.
Right, and I think the Aces need to measure sort of or balance like their pride and how they want to compete against New York versus what might be best for Chelsea's working her way back from injury. But it's hard because you mentioned we're recording here on Thursday evening. The Aces are about to play the Mercury. So without knowing that result off the top here, like the Aces, I'm sure are just reeling right now on a 3-game win streak and are very prideful being back-to-back champs. So
You said
look,
you said 3-game win streak.
I'm
I think you
sorry,
had a
losing
Freudian
streak.
slip. The Aces are usually on win streaks. A 3-game losing streak. That it
Thank
sounds weird
you.
to say.
I know. I was thinking losing streak and just as out of habit said win streak. That's what I mean. They are they're in dire need of some wins here. I think I know Jackie Young was having an illness and some challenges, of course, with Chelsea Gray being out, but I still am just like kind of shocked at some of these results. It's just a little bit of a rough patch for the Aces, although I still think they're gonna get things together here coming up in the season and certainly in the second half.
Do
Yeah.
we want to try and guess the line?
Well, sure, why not?
They'll probably open it with the still Chelsea questionable. So let's say she's 50-50 to play. What would you make it?
Okay, so yeah, the Aces going into Thursday are around -5.5 going against the Mercury. Even with Chelsea back, I mean, the Liberty have to be favored. But I don't know with how people think about the Aces.
I think I think I'm with you. I think if Chelsea doesn't play, it will be Liberty maybe like -2, and if she plays like a pick'em, maybe something like that. But I don't know. The Aces also, like, if there's a game they're gonna get up for, it's gonna be this Liberty game.
I know, and it's nerve-wracking because on the surface, if you told me like New York -2 or whatever, like I'm taking the lips. Like I just don't. Again, I don't think you can justify at certain points like some of the lines that we've been seeing with the Aces. I just don't even against like a Mercury squad. And again, I know we don't know the result right now, but like I just don't feel comfortable backing them at the moment. So, and then New York, meanwhile, has the longest win streak, not losing streak, in the W, and they seem to have figured some things out. And by the way, Jonquel Jones has been playing so well, and she was so solid in the postseason last year. So, I don't know. I'm getting stressed a little bit thinking about like where it could go. But yeah, I could see that line. Is there anything else I'm missing?
No. I just wanted to see if I could pin you down and make you uncomfortable and have to guess a line.
Mission accomplished. Okay, the other game on Saturday, by the way, is Connecticut and Dallas. Quick thought on that?
Yeah, I've been trying to look to fade Connecticut in a few spots here and there. I think that they're very good, and I'm not trying to, hashtag disrespect with the CT, but I do think they aren't quite as good as their record or even the market has them. But Dallas is not the team to do it. Dallas is another team that I'm looking to fade right now. That Seattle line opened at Seattle -2. It's already up to like 6.5, I think. So this is two teams that I think the market's a little bit high on. So I do want to fade Connecticut at some point, but not on Saturday.
I agree. I mean, Connecticut has shown that the teams that they should beat, they are beating. I still think as impressive as they've been, they haven't had the toughest schedule. I mean, they played New York once, which was a loss, but like they really haven't played the top teams very often. So I do still have some question marks, but I'm with you and I lean that they take care of business against Dallas. Now let's look ahead to Sunday. This is going to be another doozy. We got the Sky Fever rematch.
Yep.
What more can I say after a 1-point victory by the Fever a couple weeks ago that sparked a whole shitstorm, for lack of a better word,
editorial legislation. We got all sorts of follow up to that game.
Oh my goodness. And like the Indiana Fever also gonna be in action here Thursday night, but like they are not appealing to watch right now. I mean, but again, to be fair, like we talk about schedules, and they've played Connecticut 3 times, they've played New York 3 times, and played Vegas. It's like, look, I'm not expecting them to play well against those teams, but I was hoping for something a little bit more entertaining the other night when Indiana played Connecticut, and then the Sky side of things, like as I discussed earlier, although they did lose to Indiana, they have been scrappy, my scrappy Sky. So like, I don't know, man. I don't know where. What do you think about this one?
I think this is the game where you lean into your casual. You can. This is where you fool the books and make them think that you're really casual because you bet like a Caitlin 25 points, an Angel Reese double, like all that. I actually think these are really good spots for both rookies, and I think they both could have really good games. And it could be. I mean, it's going to be must-see TV anyways. Angel versus Caitlin versus Kennedy, and we should shout out Candy Carter, whose name has been in headlines for maybe reasons beyond her play on the court, but she's having an outstanding season. So we got to shout her out for the actual play she's been
she
taking
is.
part in.
I tweeted this when Chicago was playing New York the last time. She is a certified bucket. Kennedy Carter is one of the most talented offensive players in the league. I've been so impressed. Like, she's certainly the leading candidate, I would say, for sixth player of the year so far. Unless, I don't know if she's snuck into the starting lineup at all, but if she becomes a starter, I think that'd be the only thing that would get in the way of her winning that award. But real quick, I'm just pulling up the box score from the last time these two teams played. And let's see, that was the debut of Cardoso, and she was phenomenal for her first ever like WNBA regular season game. 11 points off the bench, 6 boards. Reese, 8 points, 13 rebounds. I definitely like another double-double for Reese because she was not. She was only 2 of 9 from the floor in that game. And then, interestingly, like, Clark didn't score a lot in that game.
No.
11 points, 8 boards, 6 assists. So not a bad game, but not like a, Clark
the Sky
scoring.
have been pretty good. Teaspoon has really kind of drilled into them to not allow threes to the opposition. That's been a big key to their success this season. So I do wonder if, maybe matchup wise, that is a factor that they have going on them against Caitlin going for them.
And real quick, I'll just say this too. So Nalissa Smith, that game, 17 points, 9 boards. I hope she has a big game again. I think that there are some games that I see her potential and I'm like, she is phenomenal. And then there are other games where I'm like, I don't know if it's, I don't think it's just her, to be fair. It's just the Fever as a whole just look disjointed sometimes. And I'm just like, they're too talented to be like playing like this. So I'm not really sure about them. But anyway, as you can tell, we're excited about that. But let's not forget Sunday as well. I think this is going to be another banger. Seattle and Phoenix. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, now we have all the stars back. Brittany Griner is back for the Mercury. Beck Allen, maybe not a star, but certainly a very impactful player for the Mercury, versus a Seattle team that you started the season a little bit slow, but they have really picked up the pace. They look awesome. It's another Skylar Diggins-Smith versus, the franchise of the Mercury game. So you said it, the weekend slate is absolutely stacked. There's going to be some really good basketball to watch. We'll have to see how lines come out. We'll see how player props come out in terms of actual betting angles, but it's going to be a really fun weekend to watch the W.
I know. I feel like I have to reevaluate all of my plans for the weekend, including Father's Day. I may have to tell Pops, there's some shit going down in the W. So, all right. I think that's going to do it for our Friday Best Bets episode. Want to thank everyone for listening to Buckets presented by BetMGM. Enjoy the phenomenal weekend. Jim, thanks as always for all your picks and insights, and we'll be back Tuesday with more Best Bets. Let's get buckets.